Hello YouTube. I hope everyone had a fabulous Christmas Eve or whatever festivities that you're getting into. I hope you have a good, safe time. Don't drink and drive, all that good stuff. So briefly, I just wanted to talk about you are not defined by your mistake. And I don't know if I said this in a previous video, but it was heavy on my mind, and I just wanted to share my story really quickly. So for those of y'all that's been watching me, or whether you're a new subscriber, hello, welcome. Thank you. It's 744. Let's keep it going. I wanted to talk about people, and it's not even about church people, but just people in general. People will put you down for making a mistake. And normally it comes from people who have made worse mistakes than you. So I wanted to briefly talk about when I was 19. I got pregnant with my son, and it was unexpected. My friend and I, that I told y'all I'm going to be on her podcast, we recorded today, and we had some deep talks off camera. And the one thing that we had in common was she got married and had 3 more kids, or 2 more. Yeah, 2 more. Yeah. But, so her firstborn was unexpected, similar to mine, and she moved on and met her husband, and her husband became stepdad, and they had 2 more children together, and that was a blessing, and, we didn't get into how she was treated, but for me personally, there was one particular lady in the church that was just very, very put down. And I never said nothing back to her because I knew her story. And when she first came to my church, she was a crackhead. She was very skinny. Her kids used to come in looking dirty. And this woman, I guess she felt like because she got saved, gained weight, and got a job, that she was able to just talk to me any old kind of way. And I remember telling her, like, first of all, she was all up in my business, saying that I should be with my son's father. And I said, no, like, he's not what I want. I know that I'm better than that. Yes, I made a mistake, but I'm not going to be with him. That's my decision. She goes, oh, well, da-da-da-da-da. I said, well, one of the things, he calls me names. He says, I'm a whore. So why would I want to be with somebody that called me a whore? Like, I'm 19, but I have common sense. She goes, oh, well, you are. And I didn't go back and forth with her. And what makes the whole situation even worse, my father was in the car listening to this and did not say nothing to my defense. And I said all that to say this. Just because someone says that to you and they don't know the full story, because she knew the full story, well, yeah, most of the story, and even though she was judging me so hard, and I understand it perfectly, because her story was, oh, well, I had to, she says she had to sleep with men for a place to stay. Now, what's worse? To me, that's a little, whatever. But I wasn't judging her for that, right? So she was judging me, and she was judging a friend of mine that was pregnant at the same time too. She's like, y'all are from the church and y'all are supposed to know better. And then she was just going in, talking about I was wearing little girl dresses years and years ago. Mind you, when I first came to this particular church, I was 10. What a 10-year-old supposed to be wearing? Little girl dresses. So just by her talking, you could tell she had some deep-seated rooted issues that had nothing to do with me, right? And so fast forward to about 2014 or 15, I had put something on Facebook, I don't remember, but her response was, oh, you should take him for child support. I said, I don't believe in child support. Like, at the end of the day, my son is well taken care of by his family, and like, what are you talking about? I said, you're entitled to your opinion, and I was very respectful. Like, I never came out my face to this woman or nothing. And she actually deleted me for saying that. And I said all that to say this. You are going to have older people, because she was older, so I was 19, she was like 35. So we got like 16-year difference. But you're going to have people that are not too well upstairs. You're going to have people that are miserable, right? And misery likes company, right? So one thing I notice is when you say things like you're entitled to your opinion, that shuts people down. And anybody, when I wanted to talk to my young ladies, anybody that's putting you down for a mistake that you made, just know that they've made worse mistakes than you. So don't even listen. Like, I was 19, but I was smart to not listen to the criticism. I was smart to not listen to the put down. Because a lot of people have postpartum depression, not because of the baby, but because people will put you down so bad. Mind you, the same people who told me to keep my son were the same people putting me down. Were the same people telling me I should be with my no good child's father that's running the streets and doing everything under the sun that's not, godly. You telling me I should be with somebody that first of all, I don't care for, but because he's the father of my child, oh, you should be with him and this and that and the third. For what? That's not going to bring glory. That's not going to bring God glory. And that would have been nothing but a tumultuous existence. I probably would have ended up killing him. So, you know what I mean? But a godly woman, a woman with self-esteem, will say, no, you don't need to be with somebody that's in the streets and not doing positive things with his life. Like, that's what a person with sense would say, right? And I want to talk to my young ladies, like, not just that, just because you make a mistake, that don't mean that what I'm trying to say is you are not your mistake, right? And that's what I'm trying to convey in this video. You are not your mistake. So if you have a child by somebody, even if you get married, because it's so many women that get married at 17, 19, 21. Even if you get married and you made a mistake, it's okay. You could start over. You are not your mistake, okay? Just because you made a mistake and you married the wrong person or whatever, you could start from scratch. You don't have to listen to the negativity. And I'm able to do this channel and come before you and be transparent. My son is 16 years old. He'll be 16 in 4 days, 28th. And I'd be damned if somebody tries to, even back then, try to, oh, well, you did this 16 years ago. I think I told y'all about a guy I met at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. Mind you, he tried to talk to me. And I told him briefly, whatever. And he was judging me. And I was like, but your mom got 3 kids. And y'all all have different fathers. So, what are you getting at? You talking about something I did damn near 16 years ago? Like, I can't change the past. At least I learned from my mistake and I moved on. So that's the message that I can't stress enough. And I'll probably do another video and talk about it again and again and again. Because you have so many women that suffer from depression and anxiety because of people's negative comments. Because of people telling them, oh, you should be with this guy. Because this is the way it is. They don't like you, right? That's what it really is. Any friend or anybody that's telling you to be with a guy that's no good, they don't like you. That's what it is. They don't like you and they don't think you're worth anything. So they feel like you should be with somebody that ain't shit. He ain't shit, so you ain't shit. That's how they see it. Because anybody that's like a true friend or a true woman of God or anybody who is really God-fearing, they're not going to tell you to be with somebody that's no good. That's not God telling them that. That's the devil. And people will use people in the church. I have to stress this because this lady was in the church telling me this, telling me that I should be in this toxic, tumultuous situation. And I'm like, first of all, I don't want to be with him. That's first and foremost. I loved myself enough to know that I deserve better. I said, well, I work, I have goals and things that I want to accomplish in life, and we don't even agree on that. And I stayed quiet. I never went back and forth with her because it's like, wow, you used to be a crackhead and your kids come to church dirty every Sunday and you telling me how I should run my life. But I stayed quiet because I had enough wisdom to not go back and forth with her. Because even with the whole Facebook thing, fast forward to, that was like 2014, and she goes, oh, you should put him on child support. I said, I don't agree with child support, but you're entitled to your opinion. Just me saying that alone, she deleted me. And at first it kind of bothered me at first, and then I was like, she's a loser. Like, why are you getting offended because I'm telling you you're entitled to your opinion? Because the devil in her, the whole purpose with her trying to enter my life, and now that I'm older, I'm 35 and I could look back on it, her whole purpose was to be nosy. One, she wasn't trying to look out for me and whatever. You know, she had put me on to emergency Medicaid and stuff, but I already had a friend that was going through that. We was going through that together. She came into my life. She heard I was pregnant in the church, and she's like, "Ooh, you know, let me." And she said it. My father taught her son how to play an instrument, so she felt like she was returning the favor. That's not returning the favor by putting me down, by saying that I should be with this guy, by calling me out my name. And if I had low self-esteem, I would have believed that. The devil will send people into your life to put you down further. And it's like, why would she say that? Because she's a crackhead. She was a crackhead thinking that she was better than, holier than thou, because she had got married. So she thought that, oh, well, I could talk down to her and say all of this stuff. And the sad part about it is she said it in front of my father, and my father sat there and didn't say nothing, didn't defend me, whatever. But I had enough sense within myself to not listen to that. So I can't stress that enough to my young ladies, or even older women too. Sometimes somebody from the church could put you down so bad that you start to believe it. Or it could be somebody in your family. It could be your grandmother, your own mother could say things to you. And you like, remember I said in a previous video, the devil uses people. He'll use your own mother to say some crazy stuff. Remember I talked about the movie Deliverance. And when the demon was coming out, it came into her mother's form. Her mother had just passed away, and she called her, you half-breed, you know, and stuff like that. That's the devil coming in different forms. And so the devil used that lady from my church. She came off as very compassionate. She came off as, oh, I was a young mother too, I'm gonna help you. And throughout the whole time of her helping me, she put me down every chance she could in front of my father and behind his back. And I just was like, wow, this woman is in pain. I never internalized it because I know who I am. And even back then, I'm more than a conqueror. So I was just ignoring her. I'm like, whatever, this crackhead bitch. But sometimes some people are not strong, and they'll internalize that, and I'm just proud of myself that I didn't internalize that. I didn't listen to a word she said. I'm like, whatever, and I moved on, you know. And another thing is how you know somebody sent by the devil is that they come into your life and they leave quickly, right? As soon as I gave birth to my son, she didn't keep up with me. We didn't stay friends or any of that. As soon as she came into my life, she was gone. She didn't care about my son or how are you doing or nothing. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a message, right? So years and years later, I feel like this was pre-pandemic, or it might have been after the pandemic, but I happened to come across her Facebook, and I'm still deleted, whatever. She is a voodoo magic woman, African spells and all that. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? Right? Because I just said it. I said the devil uses people, and it's like verbal voodoo. And somebody, Peach McIntyre, she's a YouTuber. Those who, if you know, you know. She spoke about that, and I was like, wow, I wish she would like expound on that. And I remember commenting, I was like, yo, that's some powerful stuff you talking. She was like, her grandmother used to say some real evil stuff to her, and she calls it verbal voodoo. And she's like, there are people in your life, family and outside your family, that will say some really mean, weird things to you, and you have to ignore it. You have to know that it was sent by the devil. And it's like, when this lady would talk to me, it's like the devil was talking, and I knew to ignore her. I never said anything. I just was like, okay, she giving us a ride from the hospital, cool. Okay, she, you know, whatever. She was an extra person in the room. But the God in me, like, she couldn't stay in my life. Because one thing I love about, and I was saying that to my friend today, that people who are into anti-God stuff, like I told you, I'm my former friend from junior high school that was an atheist. People who don't serve God for real, they kind of cut themselves off. You know, so, and that's one thing I'm happy about. And she cut herself out as soon as she came into my life. It's as soon as she cut herself off. And yeah, like as soon as my son was born, I didn't hear from her. I didn't reach out either, because she's a piece of shit. And it's just funny how so many years later, she does voodoo magic. She does spells. She does African voodoo. It says it on her Facebook. And I'm like, why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? Because she was talking that stuff, and the devil sent her into my life, and I just sat there and just ignored her. And it's like, if she's watching this, thank you, because it made me a stronger person. And the things that you said to me, Shashonya, I would never say that to nobody. I would never put anybody down for making a mistake when you made 5, right? None of their dads are around. And so she was angry with me when she told me, you should put him on child support. And I said, you're entitled to your opinion. My 25-year-old self, I have more sense than her, and she's 16 years older than me. And I said, you're entitled to your opinion. I didn't go back and forth with her, and she deleted me. Because the devil, one thing the devil can't take is when you're non-confrontational. I never went back and forth with her, because why would I argue with a crackhead? Right? Why am I? And I was smart enough to know that at my young age. At my young age. And the things that she was saying was like, wow, she didn't even know me. And she was like, well, yeah, when you get my age, you're not gonna know how many people you've been with, and this, that, and the third, and you're gonna probably die from an STD. Like, she was saying some real crazy stuff to me, and I just laughed inside, because I'm like, you probably gonna die from crack before I, like, but I didn't say that to her, because my personality, even back then, how can I get offended by somebody who, like, their lifestyle is worse than mine? You know, even back then I was like, what? Like, and today she is a voodoo person. She does spells on people. She was trying to put a spell on me, and when it didn't work, she got very angry. That's what it was. She couldn't believe that I just ignored everything. Like, huh? Then you criticizing my mother, talking about some, oh, she dressed you up in little girl dresses. I was a little girl. What am I supposed to be wearing at 10? What are you even talking about? Like, like, what? What? So I can't stress that. I can't stress it enough that when people are putting you down, that's how they feel about themselves, even with men too. And talking to my friend today off camera after we did the podcast, which I hope she uploads it soon. But just her hubby didn't judge her because of her past. And it was just encouraging to me, because when a man is for you, he's for you. And that's what I also wanted to talk about. When a man is for you, you have some men that they listen to one thing about you and they just drag it, because we live in a society of, people. Some men, they want a virgin, they get one, and they still cheat on her. So obviously that's not what they want either. And then they get with somebody who's experienced and they don't want her either. So a man that really love you, he's not going to care about your past. He's going to accept you for you. He's not going to make shrewd comments, like the guy I told y'all that I met. We never dated, because how you gonna lie and I just met you and you lying about employment? That's not going down. So but a man that's for you, he's not gonna judge you for your past. He's gonna say, okay, that's what you did, and moving on, right? But a man that's not for you, he's gonna think of every reason to not be with you, right? And that's what I wanted to talk about, those two things. Like, don't worry about people in or out of church that want to put you down, and don't worry about even a man that tries to put you down. I also wanted to add that this same person that was putting me down and judging me and my friend for being pregnant, she left the church. Now, I left, because I was 19 and I was getting older. Everybody was leaving because they was going away to college, getting married, having kids. And I just left on my own accord. She left because the youth pastor made a mistake. And my mom confronted the pastor, his father, and he denied it. But regardless if he made the mistake or not, I found it so odd that she would leave, because it's like, again, she was a whole crackhead with 5 kids. And it was like, okay, you're leaving the church because he made this alleged mistake, but people are human. So why would the church that got you saved and embraced you and didn't judge you for being a crackhead, you're gonna leave because the youth pastor made this alleged mistake? Like, it didn't make sense to me. And then she was judging me and my friend for being pregnant, and she was like, y'all grew up in the church. I didn't grow up in the church. I had to have sex for a place to stay, but you judging us for being pregnant. What? Like, what? That's why I was like, what? Like, I was smart to not go back and forth with her, because that just would have been like ignorant. Like, even back then, I'm like, I'm not gonna engage. Like, this is and I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten into some arguments, but even back then, I'm not gonna argue with a fool, because you arguing with a fool and somebody else is walking past, they're not gonna know who the fool is. And I knew that from back then. Like, I don't argue with people that's not on my level. Though she was older than me, she was not on my level. So even back then, I knew not to give her my energy. Even at 19 years old, I knew to not give this lady my energy. So, and like I said, how do you know somebody is sent by the devil? When they keep saying negative things, when nothing positive comes out their life, comes out their mouth. And I kind of felt low-key bad for her, because she didn't have no family support. All she had was her boys, and then she later got married, but she didn't have nobody. And then like she the stuff that she went through and stuff, and then it's like you don't have a good life and then you try to put others down. So I felt bad for her, because I know for her to be talking to me like that, she couldn't have felt that great about herself, you know. And I think I said that in a previous video. When somebody is like talking down to you and you know it came from nowhere, you can't imagine how they feel about themselves, you know. So I just knew that it came from a place of hurt, and I just knew it was like, it wasn't anything. I didn't take it personal, but I never forgot, you know, certain things. Just like, yeah, whatever. But I just never forgot that experience, because this lady was from my church. This lady heard I was pregnant, and instead of just moving on with her life, she had to insert herself and make sure of this and that, when at the same time was putting me down every chance she get. Every chance she got, she was putting me down, saying something negative. And I'm like, this is not genuine. You know, you'll know it's genuine when a person is really there for you and they don't judge you. I don't care if I was a prostitute and I got pregnant. Nobody asked you your opinion. Like, like, it was just like, and then to see that so many years later, she does voodoo. It says African mysticism or some crazy whatever. It's like, wow, I'm not surprised, because that's what you call a wayward spirit. And so always keep this in mind. Somebody that's insecure or doesn't know who they are, they're gonna put you down because they don't know who they are. She doesn't know who she is. How you bounce from crackhead to Christian to now African mythology? Like, she's all over the place. She's probably a Muslim now, or she's all over the place. She doesn't know who she is. She's all over the place. So you got to be careful of people like that, right? Also, you know the difference between love and constructive criticism. Or I should say hate and constructive criticism. Constructive criticism, you need that sometimes. Constructive criticism is, well, Crystal, unfortunately XYZ, hopefully you start using protection. That's constructive criticism, right? Or if you drop out of school and a person is like, well, I think you should go back to school, because if you go back to school, you could have more options in your job search, right? A person that is no good for you, they're going to just straight put you down and say, well, what's wrong with you? And da-da-da-da-da. Are you stupid? Now, if they talking to you like that, that's not constructive criticism. Why I got to be stupid because I made this decision? I have my bachelor's. I would never put somebody down because they drop out. If they drop out, they drop out. Whatever, you know? Also, when taking advice from somebody, look at their life. Are they happy? If they're not happy, they're not going to be happy for you. They're not. And in some cases, they can have a good guy. But if they themselves are not happy for themselves, they're not going to be happy for you. They're not going to be the sound of reasoning, is what I like to say. So someone who has very low self-esteem, and the guy is no good, and she may know that he's no good, but she's going to tell you need to stay with him because she don't feel good about herself. So she's not going to encourage you to be like, you could do better. She's going to feel like you can't do no better. You know, like a true friend is going to encourage you to do better, right? If the guy is no good. But a person that's not your true friend, she's going to be like, you need to be with him. Because in her head, you ain't nothing. So you should be with a guy that ain't nothing. But you have to know within yourself that you're a somebody, right? If that makes sense. So be careful of that. A true friend is going to encourage positive things in your life, right? If you telling them, oh, you know, this guy is no good and he's back and forth in jail, he's unemployed, a true friend is going to be like, dump that nigga. That's a real friend. A real friend is going to be like, that's no good. Like, dump him like a case of AIDS. Run for your life. That's a real friend. But a fake friend who's not happy for you and they want to see you miserable, oh no, da, 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 da. Mind you, her husband could be a doctor, but in her head, you don't deserve that, right? Because she doesn't see you as valuable, because she doesn't see herself as valuable. I'm gonna repeat that again. If a person don't think well of themselves, right, there's no way that they're gonna think well of you, right? They're not gonna say, well, yeah, you need to move on, he's no good, he's beating you, he doing this and that, blah 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 blah. A true friend is gonna say, yo, you need to leave him alone. A fake friend is gonna be like, oh nah, da-da. You know, a real friend is gonna want to see you in peace with a good man, right? And this goes for a friend, your mother, your aunt. They're gonna want to see you with a good man. They're not gonna want to see you with a bum. And for the people who encourage you to be with a bum, guess what? God is gonna remove them out of your life. You don't even have to pray them away. One by one, they'll be removed from your life. And I was just thinking about that today. I was like, yeah, all the people that didn't need to be in my life, God removed them. I was holding on. Sometimes we be holding on and holding on. Now, the particular lady from church, I wasn't holding on to her. I was like, whatever. As soon as I gave birth, I didn't hear from her again until Facebook. And I said, well, you're entitled to your opinion. And then she deleted me. I never heard from her again. And I just happened to run on Facebook to see, and she's doing what she's doing. And I feel bad for her, because that's a wayward spirit. Like, she don't know her left from her right, you know. But I can't stress that enough. Like, anybody who encourages a negative relationship, they don't feel good about themselves. They don't. And they don't feel good about you. Because if they cared about you, they will want the best for you. I always want my sisters to do good. I always want my sister, even if you an acquaintance, even if I don't know you, tell me bits and pieces about a dude that's no good, I'm going to be like, no. Because if you with a no good dude, that's going to affect, eventually it affects your health. It affects your mental health. It could affect your relationship with your children when you pick the wrong men. So many things in your life, you know. So yeah, I can't stress that enough. Beware of the voices. Now, not all voices are positive. Some are sent by the devil himself. You know, postpartum depression, people think it's the baby. No, it be those negative people around you. And if you don't know how to block it out, it could really affect you. Thank God I didn't have postpartum depression. I thank God every day. You know, I was not a victim of that. But a lot of people have it because they surround themselves with negative people. It's a real thing. And those are my thoughts.